Perfect.
Perfect. Got it. Excellent. Excellent. Okay, right. So everyone can see the screen, I'm assuming, I'm hoping. Yeah. Can you, Kim, can you hear? See?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, excellent. Right. So yes, so this is a tale of two rum producing islands. As some of you know, as a global ambassador for rum, I get to, luckily enough, travel all over the world to various different rum countries, rum producing countries, work with different companies around the world. And one of my dreams has always been to bring two areas, two nations together, rum producing nations. And for me, the best rum producing nation in the world is the Caribbean. This is the epicenter of the rum world. But a lot of my heritage has come from the African continent, and a lot of the people from the Caribbean have learnt about drinks and fermentation and even distillation from the continent of Africa. So it was always a dream to try to bring a rum from the African continent to the Caribbean to work together, almost like the old and the new. So that's how this story started, the Equiano story. So that's just me, in case you want to know who I am, what I do, and you're in that whole social media thing, as some people are. So Equiano. So Equiano is the world's first African and Caribbean rum. And all that basically means is rums from the African continent and the Caribbean region. I always like to focus on provenance when I talk about rum. So when I talk about rum, I always either follow that up with Jamaican style or Barbados rum, or Puerto Rican or Cuban, because there are so many different styles of rums out there. Just the same way as we have many styles of whiskey, there are actually more rums, but a lot of these regions have their own definition or style or know-how of making rum. So it's important to understand that when you're drinking a rum from Jamaica, it will be different from a rum from Martinique, which in turn will be different from a rum from Cuba, which again in turn is different from a rum from Puerto Rico, because they all have their own rules, regulations, and styles out there. So when I focus on Africa and the Caribbean region, it's not one style, it's a fusion of two different styles of rums to create this brand. And that's why it's a world's first, because most rums are blends of either the same rum from the same distillery or from a very similar region like Caribbean rums or South American rums or even Central American rums. We call ourselves a world-class spirit. And the only reason why we say this is because if you look at all of the tasting competitions that happen, the international ones, like Wine and Spirit, International Wine and Spirits, International Spirit Challenge, most of the spirits, 99% of all the spirits are unadulterated, whether it be Scotch, whether it be Irish whiskey, whether it be bourbons, and of course rums. The rums that win are normally unadulterated. Now, it doesn't mean adulterated rums are bad. It's just that a lot of the judges feel that they want to taste the rum in its pure and natural sense. So we wanted to create a rum that way. So there's no added sugar, no colors, no spices added to the rum, just because that's a style of rum we wanted to create, something that was a little bit more cleaner and lighter or medium bodied instead of a longer sweetened finish. And that's the reason why every single competition that Equiano Original has been entered in has won a gold medal, whether it be International Wine and Spirits, whether it be the International Spirit Challenge, Concours Mondial, San Francisco, it's won a gold medal for taste. So we're very proud that this new rum is out there winning awards with some established brands. In our first year in existence in 2020, we were seen as one of the 9 best rums in the world by the oldest tasting panel in international competition, which is the IWSC. And we were sitting side by side with brands like Travier from Martinique, Foursquare from Barbados, Velier's Plenipotenziario, which I can just about pronounce, and even rums like Jamaican rums like Rum Bar, winning white rum and overproof in the overproof category as a great tasting Jamaica rum. And Equiano, as you see there, winning awards inside this competition. Now, the name Equiano is named after this man here, OLAUDAH Equiano, who was an African that was enslaved, taken to the Caribbean, and then taken to the UK. And that's the same journey our rum makes, as I'll get into a little bit later. He was a freedom fighter, an abolitionist, and he bought his own freedom by selling rum and spices. So that was another reason why I wanted to name this rum after him, because rum was part of his freedom. And because of that, our company, 5% of our profits goes to freedom fighting and freedom and equality projects around the world, like Anti-Slavery International and a lot of other what's called people trafficking organizations that are looking to make us as people work better and live together. So I'm very proud of that. And that's another reason why I wanted to create this brand. So the rum starts off in Mauritius, beautiful island in the east of Africa, the east coast of Africa. It's an island in the Indian Ocean. And we go to the Gray's Distillery. Now, the Gray's Distillery is one of 6 distilleries on the island of Mauritius. And Mauritius, if you've ever been there, is totally green, pretty much. They call it the Green Island. Every single blade of grass pretty much on there is sugarcane. And as most of us know, to make a rum, you have to make rum from sugarcane. You can't make rum from anything else. Sugar beet, can't make it from maple syrup, like I've seen in America try to do. Rum has to be made from sugarcane. So there's an abundance of sugarcane growing the island, which means there's lots of sugar and of course, lots of rum. So Grays, what they do, they crush their cane, they mill it, and it is their own cane. They own their own sugar plantations. So we can trace the sugar cane from grass right to glass. We can see how they treat their workers. We can see if they're adding any chemicals on their cane. So it's all natural, all organic, and totally looked after and controlled by the Grays Distillery. So they wash and they mill the cane. They put it through the centrifuges, heat it up, take the crystals out, sugar, and the leftovers is the molasses. And that's the raw material used to make the first part of Equiano rum and most of the rums from New Grove. So this molasses, about 60% sugar content, is then fermented in these big fermenters with some yeast, and it's a very young yeast, a very fast acting yeast, only about 24 to 36 hours of fermentation. It's in local water is added to that as well. They put in these big, massive fermentation tanks. And after a day and a half to 2 days, the product becomes about anywhere between 6 to 8% alcohol by volume. And now you got that, what we call wash. We want to get that from 6 to 8% up to drinking strength, which is about 94% ABV. And that's done in their single columns or traditional rum making stills. 38 copper plates and 18 of those are for rectification. So it makes, they use this equipment to make a really medium-bodied, flavorsome rum from the molasses. So once the rum has been distilled, it's then watered down and then put into various different types of barrels. The most common barrel that's used at Gray's Distillery are once used limousine or once used cognac casks made from French limousine oak. They use a lot of American oak and they use some wine casks, but the cognac barrel is their prized possession. Mauritius as an island has a French history. So there's a lot of French cognac out there and there's a lot of barrels that are used for the rums. So Equiano starts off in these 500 liters cognac barrels from minimum of 10 years, and that's 10 tropical years. Very important when we talk about tropical years or distillery aged products, because as a lot of us know, when you drink whiskey in Scotland, a lot of the whiskey has benefited from what we call the angel share. And the angel share is the evaporation of that alcohol in that Scottish cool climate as it seeps into the pores of these barrels, gets the color and all that natural flavor. And every year you're losing whiskey to the angels. Let's call it to the angels. Then you need that evaporation, but you're losing about 2 to 3% of your whiskey every year. But if we compare that to the tropics, like Mauritius or even the Caribbean, it's a far greater loss. As I like to show, actually in Jamaica, where I'm from, we actually call it the doppy share. So if you ever hear a Jamaican say the doppy share, or someone who's into rum from Jamaica, they actually mean the angel share, but duppies are what we call bad angels. So just to compare the various different regions on their evaporation and their maturing and their aging, Scotland will lose about 2 to 3% of their whiskey through evaporation over the years, and that helps it mellow out that spirit. Whether you're in your Islas or your Campbelltowns, Highlands, Lowlands, or my favorite style, Speyside, you're losing 2 to 3% every year. If you're in Kentucky and you're aging your spirit, you're losing 2 to 5%. Now that extra increase is because it's very hot in the summer times, but very cold in the winter. So on average, they're losing about 2 to 5% of their whiskey every year. Scotland, Cognac, France, is very similar to Scotland. They're losing 2 to 3% every year through evaporation for their brandies. But in the Caribbean or in Mauritius or in that tropical zone between Cancer and Capricorn, you can lose anywhere from 6 to 10% of your liquid every year because of evaporation. And it means that the product is maturing faster. It doesn't mean it's going to be better than, say, something that's aged in a cooler climate, but what will happen is you'll get to that sweet spot a lot quicker, which is why you don't see some really old, a lot of old rums, because they can get to that sweet spot in 8 years, in 12 years. They don't have to wait 15, 21, 25 years, like you see some really good scotches out there to get to that really great tasting flavor. Unfortunately, you will see some rums that like to, they feel that they need to let the consumer think that they're a lot older. So they'll put numbers on their bottle. They may blend old rums with young rums and actually put the number of the oldest rum on the bottle, add some sugar in there to try to make it taste older. But again, it's about your personal preference. If you like rums like that, that's great. If you feel that you want to try something that's natural or even less aged, but still get that flavor and get more value for money, then you go for something a little bit younger, maybe a 12-year-old or a 15-year-old from, say, Barbados or Jamaica. We are not allowed to add certain things. You're not allowed to add things to your rum to be called Barbados rum or a Jamaican rum. But again, for me, it's all about personal preference. I always say to people, enjoy what you like, but know what you're drinking. So the 10-year-old Equiano, or the 10-year-old Mauritian rum, I should say, that's been aged in cognac casks. Once it's 10 years old, it then journeys all the way across the Atlantic to the Caribbean, to the island of Barbados. So it goes to Barbados because, hey, Barbados is the home of rum. This is where rum got its name back in the 1650s. The spirit was called Kill Devil at that particular time. And then the English adopted a word called rum bullion to define the Kill Devil, that cane spirit. And rum bullion was condensed down to the word rum. So that's where rum got its name in Barbados. And we send it to our business partners, the Foursquare distillery, where our master blender blends that Mauritian rum with some of his own Barbados rum. Now the Foursquare rum, some of you may be big fans of Foursquare rum. They win countless amounts of awards around the world as some of the best, not only rums, but best liquid or best spirits in the world. So we're very, very comfortable with them making our rum. Now, the Mauritian rum, as I said, is just is a column still rum from molasses. The Foursquare rum is a blend of pot and column still from molasses. So the pot still rum, it's about 82% ABV from a blend of Barbados molasses and imported Caribbean molasses. And then that's blended with rums made in a twin column still, which again makes medium-bodied, lighter styles of rums, which means the master blender can play around with various different types of flavor profiles for his liquid. So the Barbados rum is pot and column still. The Mauritian rum is column still. The Barbados rum is molasses, exactly the same as Mauritian rum. But the Barbados rum has been aged in bourbon barrels, or once used bourbon barrels, American oak, compared to the cognac casks, that is the Mauritian rum. So if you imagine it's like a cuvee, two separate rums blended together to make one rum. Foursquare has many, many different types of barrels. And in the future, we may be using rums in our blends from various different wine, sherry and port casks, Calvados casks. There's so many great tasting or really influential barrels out there to make some great tasting rums for the future. So the Barbados component of our rum, it's aged from a minimum of 8 years in Barbados, Again, with the evaporation rate of about 6 to 7% in Barbados, that means rums in Barbados are aging 2 to 3 times faster than whiskey in Scotland. Our master blender or distiller is Richard Seal. Again, the person who I work with when I'm coming up with ideas for the Equiano blends and for the Equiano futures. And this is the team, well, part of the team at the Foursquare distillery. Part of their job is to stop people like me sleeping on barrels after having a few too many rums in the distillery. But always happens when you're in distilleries. I just always want to have an extra rum and extra 2 rums and fall asleep. So the rums are then blended together, the 2 rums, bottled at the Dawley's Foursquare bottling plant. And then there you have it. You have nice and simple, nice and quick, nice and easy. You have the the Equiano Original, a blend of 2 rums, one from Barbados, one from Mauritius, one from Africa, one from the Caribbean. One to use bourbon casks, one to use cognac barrels. And yeah, from glass to glass, and a nice little bottle. This is the sound effects in case you want to feel like you're in Barbados, you're tasting the rum. And I'd love to be able to get your opinions on the rum as you taste it. Putting these pictures up there to make you feel like you're in Barbados, unless you've already actually been up there. But what is your? I'd love to get your opinions on the Barbados, on the original. Any flavor notes, any profiles, any observations before we go into taste the light. I think this is where Kim's going to take us through our tasting notes, because Kim's the expert, because I know he drinks a lot of rums. What do you normally do, Kim, when you go to do you like check out the color, the legs?
Yeah, I check the color, I check the legs, and actually I really like this one.
Excellent.
This one is really, really good in daiquiris.
Oh wow, okay.
It's
one of the things one of the first things people say to me straight away before I even tell them things like the ABV, they say, wow, it's quite smooth on the palate, and what's the strength? And I say it's 43. Now we have 2 main styles of rum drinkers. We have one rum drinker that likes cask strengths. They want the really big, heavy 52 to 55, 56, 65% ABV. But then you also have the majority. And when I say the majority, as in the people that are drinking rum on a regular basis in a regular way, as opposed to just sipping and savoring. Now, giving someone, a new person, a cask strength rum may be too intimidating for them. It's almost like giving someone an Ardbeg, a Lafroig, if they're just getting into whiskeys. So one of the things we wanted to do is create a rum that was for everybody. A rum for the many and not for the few. So we went for 43% alcohol because we wanted to create a drinking rum. It can be sipped, it can be used in cocktails, it could be drunk with your favorite mixer, but the most important thing is you're drinking it. We wanted to be medium dry on the finish, so it's much more lighter on the palate. You get those subtle integrations of woody notes, vanillas, caramels, allspice, citrus peel as well. A little bit of citrus peel you get from the rum, and then that is on the palate. It sits there really nice and smooth, and then you get a bit of peppers and spice on the end. And the peppers and spice, a lot of that is attributed to the French oak, almost a touch of anise at the end of there. So that's one of the things we wanted to create. We wanted as many people as possible to be able to appreciate and try and taste that flavor profile. That's the main reason why we went at that ABV. As we know, in Europe, to be a rum, you have to be bottled at least at 37.5% alcohol. Most of the rums are bottled at 40%, but we wanted to go that little bit extra and be 43 for this particular SKU. So as I said, we wanted to create a rum for the many and not just for the few. In the Caribbean, there are 2 ways of drinking rum. There is nursing a rum, or there is doctoring a rum. Now, when you nurse a rum is when you take time, you sip it, you nose it, go back to it, maybe get a cigar, then come back to it, then go back to it again. And a lot of those rums are some of my favorite rums. And these are some of the rums that are bottled at, like, again, high proof, 55, 56, 70. No, sorry, not 70. A Freudian slip there. I'm just thinking of an old St. Vincent rum, which was 70%. No, it's cask strengths rums. But again, those rums, I can only drink maybe a glass or 2 glasses at a time. And I put the rum back on my shelf, and then I come back to it another time. That's for me what we call nursing a rum. Now, the other way of drinking rums is doctoring a rum. In Jamaica, we say we doctor a rum. And to doctor a rum, it means you finish it. You drink the glass, you finish it, have some more, get your friends around, you drink more, and before you know it, the bottle's gone. And that's what we wanted Equiano to be. We wanted Equiano to be one of those rums that you finish in a session, you doctor in a session. So we wanted it, as I said, nice and easy, a sweet rum, but not sweetened, very smooth. Thank you, Klaus. Klaus is saying quite smooth. And then, even though they say smooth is not a taste profile, it is a word I hear from thousands of people around the world that we've tasted this rum to since we've launched. They say, wow, it's smooth. And I think one of the reasons why is because there are a lot of rums out there, a lot of different styles, a lot of different brands. And if they haven't added stuff to it to make it taste smooth, it's normally harsh. So when you get a natural rum that tastes smooth, and there are a lot of them out there, it is a pleasant surprise to a lot of people. So we do hear, as Klaus just put down there, yeah, smooth. And again, that makes us happy because that's what we wanted. We wanted something that was just easy to drink as a rum.
But actually, when you have Foursquare in it, you have smoothness. You have Richard have a lot of smoothness in his rums. So I think it's quite as it should be when he's involved. You have to be smooth and easy drinking. This is actually a that goes very easy down.
Yeah, and you're right.
Also in Denmark, where we like cask strengths at 6.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But this is good.
Yeah, and you're right. With Richard Seal and his rums, if you go through all of these ranges of rums, even the ones that see, a lot of people when they see his rums, they'll see a 12-year-old, for example, and they'll see a 12-year-old in different bottles. Like it might be a Real McCoy 12-year-old, it might be a Dawley's 12-year-old, it may be one of the exceptional cask 12-year-olds. But what he does in each of those 12-year-olds, they're different blends. Yeah. They're not the same rum, just aged for 12 years. They're different components. So what was that, Samsung?
Ja, jeg ved ikke hvorfor.
Der er lukket på med Samsung. Kan du ikke mute et øjeblik?
So can we mute Samsung? Let me just see if I can mute him. Oh, he's maybe muted himself. Perfect. Thank you, Ginner up. Yeah, so when Richard creates different blends of rums of the same age, different rums of the same age, they are different blends. It's almost like they're different marks. So creating the Equiano is, again, it was a challenge for him, but it was a challenge he wanted to do. He's now using what's called rums, not only one rum, but rums from another country. Let me see if I can get to Samsung and mute him. Oh, there we go. Mute him. There you go. He's muted. So he wanted to. It's a challenge for him to get rums from, say, Mauritius, blend it with his style of rum, and then the new Equianos will create again. He'll be using different Mauritian rums or even different rums from the African continent to blend with certain of his Foursquare rums to create a different flavor profile. The next one we're actually creating, it's only going to be limited edition. It will be bottled at a higher proof. It's actually going to be bottled at 52% ABV. And that will be a vintage Equiano because the rum started off, his rum was distilled in 2010, and the Mauritian rum was distilled the same year, 2010. They didn't know each other. They distilled rums in the same year. It's an 11-year-old, and we're bringing them together. And Richard's blended it up to create the Equiano Ominaira, which would be a 2010 vintage 11-year-old rum at 52% ABV. So again, we're just trying to create flavor profiles and different types of rums for rum lovers around the world. Because there's so many, as I said, there's so many great rums out there, and I feel that in an industry we have the best tools to use to create flavor. I always argue with the Scotch guys. I'm like, yeah, you guys are good, but rum is better. They don't agree with me. But hey, and when I go to Ireland, I'm like, yeah, your whiskey's good, but rum is better. They don't agree with me either. But the thing about with whiskey, there are lots of great whiskeys, but there are about 5 great whiskey producing regions in the world. If we include America into that, and maybe exclude India, unless you like Indian whiskey. But when we talk about rums, there are so many great regions: Jamaica, Cuba, Barbados, of course. And even if we go out to Asia, I've been trying some rums coming out of Japan and coming out of Phuket, and I was pleasantly surprised. And there's going to be some great rums coming out of Australia as well quite soon. Australia is known for one particular brand, which hasn't won many friends internationally. But when you try rums like Beanley, that's coming out of there, and some other new Australian rums can come at Husk. It's another really small distillery in Australia that's making some great rums. Be pleasantly surprised once they get over to Europe. And then you have local regions. I've just recently been working with Madeira, who have 4 great distilleries on the island. And their rums are made from fresh cane juice. So they're agricoles. Similar to the rums from Guadeloupe and Martinique, again, make some amazing rums. But again, different profiles, and they use a lot of Madeira casks, Madeira wine casks to age their rum. So there are so many great regions, rum making regions around the world for us to taste, sip, and savor. And that's one of the advantages we have, I feel, over whiskey, is that we have multiple different regions making their styles of rums. Oh, thanks, Klaus. Klaus has said, in spite of the relatively low ABV, there's a lot of taste in this rum. Perfect. And I like the way you said relatively, because we also have to remember that of the rum drinkers in the world, there's less than 1% that can drink cask strengths or anything over 50% ABV. Most rum drinkers are drinking 40%. Some are even worse and drinking less. I don't know why, but they're drinking less. So we are some of the very few. I mean, I grew up drinking, this is the rum I grew up drinking, Ray and Effie Overproof. That's 63%. I was drinking that when I was 4 days old as a Jamaican. So yeah, I'm used to high strength. So question here, Piate has said, very smooth, nice, a lot of taste despite low ABV. Do you in the future consider high proof or cask strength? Yes. We will do. We are still a new company, and we are just looking to, as I said, make rums to get our name out there to a wide audience. We've been going for 2 years, but we're in 22 countries at the moment and going very well. I mean, in America, we're in eight states. We're just about to go into a very big, important airport lounge for an airline, because they love the rum, they love the taste, and it fits right in with their portfolio. We're in Canada. The LCBO in Toronto are the biggest buyers of alcohol in the world. It takes about a year to get onto them. They even buy more alcohol than Sweden, because all government, again, it's the government controlled monopoly when it buys alcohol. So we're in there. We're in Germany. We're in France, doing well. Czech Republic, Italy, Cyprus, Greece. So we're growing and growing all the time. But again, as I said, people that taste the rum are pleasantly surprised of how smooth, as some people say, how easy it is to drink. The flavor, the profile that comes through, that Foursquare rum really comes through. And then again, if a lot of bartenders love using this in their cocktails, their old fashions, which is one of my favorite ways of drinking Equiano. If you like a Negroni, rum Negronis are great as well. If you like a Campari, sweet vermouth, a couple dashes of chocolate bitters, just to give it a nice round finish. Of course, as a daiquiri, as Kim started off by saying, beautiful in a daiquiri as well. So very easy drinking. But again, if you just want to sip and savor it by itself, it's a nice, easy drink with a medium-bodied cigar, if you like your cigars, because you don't want the cigar to overpower the rum. So you want a nice medium-bodied cigar to complement the Equiano. Oh, Jacob saying the perfect proof that you don't need sugar in rum. Wow, I would agree, Jacob. It is, as I said, it's about preference to everybody. I mean, I know a lot of people that like rums with sugar inside them. I'm fine with that, as long as the rum company says to everyone they put it in there and they don't tell you that it's all natural and all the sweetness is coming from the barrels that they've aged their product in. If they let the customers know, not a problem. I drink Coca-Cola. I know how much sugar is in Coca-Cola because we know that. It says it on the can and they tell you. It's when companies don't tell you that they've added stuff and they lie. That's when I have a problem, and that's when I have to call them out. But yes, with this one, that's part of our mantra. We just want to be as pure as possible, as possible. Cool. Any other observations? Any favorite other ways to drink it? Try, if you do want to try, as I said, one of my favorite ways is an old fashioned, but if you want to try what I call a naked old fashioned, it's just a nice big glass of Equiano, 1 ice cube, and just get the peel of an orange and squirt the oils of the orange just over the glass. And you could discard the orange and then have a sip of that. Beautiful way of drinking it. Again, and all you're doing is adding the oils of an orange peel and bringing out some of those orange peel notes that you get from especially Barbados rum, and of course Jamaican rum, especially from Appleton. You get that orange, that top orange peel note. A lot of that is down to the way it's distilled, the type of equipment they use, and then how those flavors manifest in the barrels over the course of time in those tropical ages, that tropical climate. A bit like the background that Kim's got there. Feeling jealous when I see that. I feel like I'm in the Caribbean by seeing you there.
Yeah, you should see what I have if it isn't there. It's just my office, and that's not very nice. So I thought we go to the beach and some palm trees, and you know.
I'll have to bring some there. I think I'm going to be in Denmark judging I think I'm judging a cocktail competition in, when am I, in June, July? July, yeah, July the 10th. I'm in Copenhagen, so we might have to do another one. Maybe if Richard actually has some samples of the new blend, might be able to do a live tasting with that when I'm there.
Perfect. We could make a tasting in Copenhagen.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That
yeah.
wouldn't be a problem.
I'm there for the weekend.
Yeah. But
I won't tell you which rum I'm working with for the cocktail competition, but it's got a bat on the bottle. For these young bartenders. Okay. Any observations? So some of you also, I don't know if you all have, some of you have samples of the light.
They all have.
They all have. Oh, perfect. So the light, again, has come around because of my bartending background. Being a bartender, well, I call myself a bartender, but I haven't really bartended on the proper shift for maybe 20 years. Now I just go behind the bar and make a mess when I'm there. When people let me go behind there. But as bartenders, we've always loved to blend rums. I think it's because there are so many layers of flavors with rums, and when you put them together as a base, you create your own rum. So when you're making cocktails like Mai Tais, or if you do a zombie punch or any tiki style drink, you was always told to blend 2 or 3 rums. One of the things that we saw a lot of bartenders do over the last few years was blend agricole, fresh sugarcane juice rums, and molasses rums as a base for drinks. So that was something I wanted to create for a lot of my bartender friends, the home bartender or the hotel bar that wanted premium light rums in their program. And that's why we created the Equiano Light. Now the Equiano Light, again, 43% ABV, but instead of being molasses, it's now molasses, again, from Foursquare, a 3-year-old Foursquare rum, and fresh sugarcane juice rum from Mauritius. So on the nose, you'll get a little bit of sugarcane, a bit of grassiness, a touch of citrus peel, but quite herby as such. And on the taste, you'll also get a touch of vanilla, and that vanilla is coming from the Barbados component, the Foursquare rum that's been aged for 3 years in those tropics. And again, that's where the color comes from. And that's why we don't call ourselves a white rum, we call ourselves a light rum, because it's a lightly bodied rum. It's made to be used in a different way from the original. Some people drink it by itself, but most will drink it in a mixed drink, whether it's your favorite mixer, like your tonics or your premium sodas. For me, the best way is a daiquiri. I love the daiquiri. And when you use a touch of agricole rum or fresh sugarcane juice rum in a daiquiri, it just takes it to that next level. So using a double measure or 55 CLs, 50 CLs, 5 CLs of Equiano Light, 2.5 CLs of fresh lime juice, and then 1.5 CL of simple syrup, good hard shake. You have, for me, one of the most perfect daiquiris. But it also goes well with grapefruit juice as well. So if you like a splash of grapefruit juice or a splash of grapefruit bitters in there, again, you're playing around with those natural flavors of the two rums, the Mauritius rum, fresh sugarcane juice, and the Barbados rum, aged in American oak for 3 years, fused and blend together to make something different. So this is, as I said, it's a light rum, a light premium rum, more of an upsell from some of the white rums or some of the other light rums out there. The nearest rum I think I've seen on the market that's similar to this, as in the way it's put together, is another Foursquare rum, which is Veritas. But the Veritas is Barbados and Jamaica, where this is Barbados and Mauritius. And Christian has just made a very, very important and an observation that has so many people have said over the last year that since we've launched this. It smells like tequila. Some people say, wow, it smells like tequila. And the reason why you have that tequila-esque note, because it's not agave, it's mainly from the fresh sugarcane juice. It's that earthiness from cane juice. They say when you have a white spirit that is that hasn't been distilled to a very high volume, you can smell and taste the raw material. That's why tequila tastes like agave, because it's distilled in a way where you want to smell and taste that agave inside there, and you don't lose that. Sorry, you lose a bit of that once you age it. With sugarcane juice, some of the best sugarcane juice rums are unaged. Once they're aged in French oak or American oak, they then start to take on the quality of the oak. And then once they get to 10, 15 years, some people find it hard to make that difference between a brandy or an Armagnac, or even whiskey to an extent, because of the influence of the wood. So the younger the product is, the more the raw material you can smell and taste. And that's why some people say, oh, it smells like tequila. It's because you're really smelling a grass, the raw grass from Mauritius, in that freshly sugarcane juice rum that's added to that. So again, complex, lots of flavor inside there for a lightly bodied rum. And that's all we wanted to do. That's a story we want to tell. We want to say, yes, you can have a big, heavy rum. You can have a heavily aged rum, but you can have a lot of flavor with light rums as well to make lightly served drinks. Again, for an audience that want a lighter style of drink. And that's why one of the best ways we've seen people drink this, not only in daiquiris, but in tall drinks, highballs, with ginger ale, with tonic water, with soda, or a lot of these premium sodas that are out there, and maybe a slice of orange peel or grapefruit or lemon or lime, or whatever your profile, your palate takes you. I think one of the best drinks I had in recent times, I was in Greece last week, and one of the bartenders there made me a highball, and it tasted so good I had 4. And only went for a sample, but I had 4. He made his own watermelon tonic, or watermelon soda, and he did a double measure of the Equiano Light. He did it was like about 10 mils of apricot brandy, and then topped it up with this watermelon soda. It was beautiful. And it just went down so easy. I didn't realize. So before I knew it, I'd already had 8 shots of rum in these 4 drinks, because it just went down so easy. And it created what I like to say is a rum experience. Would it have tasted different if he'd used the Equiano original? Yeah, it would have been a different drink. It probably would have been a bit more meatier. But when it was a hot day, I want something light, refreshing. And an Equiano light is made for that type of audience, that type of market. So that's the reason why we created it. That's why we created it. That, again, a rum really for that home bartender or that professional mixer, or someone just wants a nice, easy, light drink on a hot day. And I know it does get hot in Denmark sometimes, I think. Hopefully it does. Oh, it does, yeah. Klaus is saying yes, it does. Good, perfect. As long as hopefully it's hot when I get there in July.
Maybe it should be. We have 3 weeks of summer in Denmark, and normally it comes in June, but let's hope you can get something in July.
Oh, excellent. So yes, I'd love to get your opinions on this, on the Equiano Light. I've seen it Klaus has said, yeah, both rums have amazing noses, but the nose and the light is really great. Lots of rum agricole notes. Yes, correct. Yeah, a lot of rum agricole notes inside there. And again, rum agricoles are a challenge to a lot of people. It's not, rum agricole is not a rum for everybody. I understand that. It took me a little while to acquire the taste of rum agricoles because I grew up drinking rums from Jamaica or from the English Caribbean. And then when you go out, you only saw really the rums from the Spanish colonies, from Puerto Rico or Cuba, and you normally have those with either Coke or a mojito as such. So an agricole rum was new to me few years back. So I acquired the taste of that cane juice in certain styles of drink. So yeah, so it's a nice. This is a nice way to actually get yourself into there, because we add some of that molasses rum just on the bottom, just to smooth it out a bit and add another layer of flavor. Cool. How's it, Mr. Ginner Up? How's it fare? Picking on you because you got your camera on. Is it Ginner Up?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh,
yeah,
cool. Perfect.
I'm here. I'm just muted. Yeah.
Oh, are you doing? Is that? Oh, I thought you were doing the empty glass test.
There's some left.
Oh, there's some left. Yeah, always another way of evaluating rums is, smelling the glass once the glass is empty. That really tells you about the liquid. And the original and the light give you a lot of flavor once the glass is empty, as it coats the inside.
Next morning is always good.
Yes, true.
Something.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, next morning. And next morning the glass, not next morning into your head.
No,
not hangover. Not next morning hangovers. Yeah, but I know what you mean. The next one. Excellent. Is that Mr. Rum Hemrick there? How you doing? How you doing, sir? Long time. Cool. Excellent. So yeah, if there's any questions on Equiano, on the distilleries, I think I've answered a few about what we're doing in the future, or rum in general. My opinion on rums in general. Or why haven't I got a daiquiri in front of me? Because I'm gonna have a daiquiri after. My kitchen's that way. Make one after. Actually, I'm in my rum shack at the moment in the end of my garden.
Actually, we have to try this in a daiquiri.
Oh yeah.
If you want to make a daiquiri, you get 2 sour, 3 rum, and 1 lime, or how we do it?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I always like the Dave Emery Wasco recipe, where he uses 4-2-1, or 2-1 or 2-1/2, 4-2-1. So 4 parts rum, 2 part lime juice, and 1 part sugar syrup. And for me, you get a really nice balanced daiquiri that way. It's not overly sweet. You can really taste the rum, and the lime is just sitting there, not really overpowering it. Now, I've heard some bartenders say, oh, you should change up their ratio of rum to lime depending on which rum you use. The only reason why I disagree with some of those bartenders, because I think you shouldn't be making all your daiquiris exactly the same. Each daiquiri should represent the rum. So if you use equal amounts of lime and sugar for every rum you use, if you use a sweet rum, your daiquiri is going to be sweeter because you like that rum. If you use a dry rum, your daiquiri is going to be drier. And it really will showcase the actual rum. And that's the reason why I always try to keep to the same ratio when I make my daiquiris. So yeah, I'll use a basic 50 mils of rum, 25 mils of freshly squeezed lime juice, and then 12.5 mils to 15, depending on the sugar syrup. Good hard shake with ice, and I don't double strain. I don't use a tea strainer to strain my daiquiris. I don't mind a little bit of ice shavings on the top, because when I'm in the Caribbean and you're having a daiquiri, those ice shavings melt very quickly and you can drink that. But it helps with dilution as well. So yeah, I always say to bartenders, when you make me daiquiri, don't bother with the double strain, just single strain out of your tin or your glass into my coupette or martini glass. I did see one bartender I think he was in Singapore, triple strain. So I had to slap him. Like, what are you doing? And he was doing two tea strainers and a strainer. I was like, what are you doing? I think he was just overcomplicating it. So how about old fashions? Anyone into old fashions?
Yeah, I love. I only tried with your park.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So how are we doing the old fashioned?
To me, with old fashioned, with the Equianos, of course, with the original is the first one I would gravitate to. Loads of rum inside there. I don't like my old fashions with less than 75 mils of alcohol. It should be a big drink. Big drink. Yeah, I'm using, I like either sugar syrup. I'm going for a quick old fashioned because for dilution as well. I don't do a slice of orange. I use a twist of orange oil for the end of the drink as such. So I'm using sugar syrup, rum, ice, loads of ice, stir it down. So you're diluting it, but also chilling it down as well. Nice big rocks glass with a big block of ice. Pour that inside. And then my twist of orange peel on there. Bitters, the bitters either after or stirred in. Now, with the original, I love using chocolate bitters because it just gives it a really nice, really chocolatey finish on the end. I even use Mozart chocolate bitters, which is really good instead of using the Angostura cocoa bitters. But regular Angostura bitters work. Orange bitters works as well. It's play around with different finishes. But yeah, that's my favorite way of having an old fashioned with original. But with the light, I use old fashioned. But what I do is I make coconut ice cubes. So I get some coconut water, like the ones you buy from the stores, like Vita Coco or something like that. Put that into one of the silicone ice wells. Make an ice cube from that, and then stir the light down with that with some citrus bitters and some either palm sugar or light Muscovado or light Demerara sugar, but the soft one, not the hard Demerara one, because it takes too long to dilute. So I like the soft, light Demerara sugar. So a couple bar spoons of that, a couple dashes of citrus bitters, and then 75 mils of the Equiano light. Stir that down with some coconut water or coconut ice cubes, and it's just gorgeous, beautiful taste. Really, and it looks light. It actually looks like a clarified milk punch, but it's just really tasty again. And then you get the cane rum coming through on the nose, and a little bit of that vanilla flavor from the aged rum coming from the bottom. But two of my favorite styles of old fashions.
You think you're coming with rum with higher alcohol?
Yeah. Well, are we coming with one? You said.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to be doing some. We won't be doing any cask strengths, but we will be doing some blends that are over 50% ABV. Just because, again, we know there are lots of different types of rum drinkers in the world, and some rum drinkers will prefer higher proof and higher strength rums. So we will be producing some of those. But as we are still a new company, we wanted to do something we could get to market quite easily and quite quickly. So myself and Richard agreed that we'll start off with 43, so we can get it out there. Remember, in America, they're still learning to drink rum. So anything that's like 80 proof, which is 40% alcohol, is premium to them. So giving them some of the 86 proof, they're like, wow, my God, 86 proof, that's a lot, because they're American. So and that's a big market. It's going to be a big market for us. So we look to do that with our regular one at 43, and then we'll do smaller runs, most probably for the European market, where we'll go a little higher on some of the blends and some of the products there, just because we're used to that here in Europe. So it's about understanding the markets, understanding where we want to go, and also understanding that we're still new and we're taking our time to build up this brand. My vision for Equiano is in 10, 15 years time, people are just saying, oh, they're looking at Equiano like, I don't know, like Johnny Walker. You go in there and there's one style, one for every day, one that you can bring out for your friends, just a VIP friends, one you can celebrate with the ex, oh, celebrate because the X is not there. Yeah, there'll be a different Equiano for everyone, but the one that everyone drinks is the regular one. For example, like a Johnny Walker, everyone drinks a Johnny Walker Black or the Johnny Walker Red. But then you have your premium, extra premium, special ones that you have in different markets. There'll even be an Equiano for duty free once we decide we're ready for duty free. So yeah, there will be definitely some higher proof Equianos that we've got planned. But if you've ever been to the Foursquare distillery, even though they're producing some great products, it's still a very small distillery. So there's a backlog on rums at the moment. Pandemic hasn't helped, but yeah, in the future we will have some different and the higher proof Equiano rums.
So what about the light one? Is that to come to a higher ABV?
Oh yeah, I mean, well, the cocktail one, it's funny you should say that, because in Foursquare now, Richard is now making cane juice rums. And he's got some, and Luca Gargano from Velier has just managed to get hold of, I think, 600 bottles of the cane juice rum. And I think it's 60% ABV. So I'm trying to get Richard to release some of that, to do some special editions of the lighter one, or special editions of a new light one, where we will go that extra strength. So yeah, all of those are definitely possible. That's a great thing about having a brand like this. It's a great thing about having people like yourselves that I can listen to and talk to and say, wow, you know what, would that be a great idea? And if it makes financial sense, because you're not worth making something that's not going to sell. If it makes sense doing it, and it's part of the Equiano story, then we'll do that. We'll definitely do that. Yeah. And just in case anyone says, well, Ian, you're Jamaican, why didn't you use Jamaica in a blend? There will be some Jamaica in another blend of Equiano in the future.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Any other questions?
Excellent. That was almost like Usain Bolt time. Yeah, exactly. Excellent, excellent. Well, I can't wait to come and have a drink with you guys live and bring some new samples, some new stuff to Denmark. That'd be great. I'll need it after the rum I'm working with the day before. So to be able to sip some African Caribbean rums after that, that'd be great. So and it will be a lot better as well.
We have to have a rum date.
Yes, yeah, we'll definitely have to arrange one of those.
Yeah.
But thank you for giving up your time this evening to just listen to me talk about Equiano rum and some of our plans, and this new little baby that's just come onto the rum scene, and hopefully make some waves right across not only Europe but the rest of the world.
Actually, it's us who has to thank you, Ian, because I know you have a busy schedule, but we really wanted this tasting, and we want to celebrate that you have the time to do this tasting with us. So for everyone who's buying one bottle of Equiano Dark, the original rum, we are putting an extra bottle in the box when we're sending the package. We are putting an Equiano Light in the box, because we think that our customers need to taste this one, not only once but twice or third or four times, so they can learn to use it to something delicious. So for the rest of the week, we will give a bottle away, and it aches in my heart every time I give a bottle of rum away, but we have to. So
it's about tasting.
Yeah. Just give it a shot, guys.
Is there still a rum fair? Is there still a rum fair or a whiskey and rum fair in Denmark?
Yeah, there's not. The Nordic Rum Fest might be in September.
Oh, okay.
Daniel hopes it.
Oh yeah, Daniel. Yeah, the last time I was in Denmark was I think at the Nordic Rum Fest, and it was a very good day because there was lots of rum, but also Liverpool won the Champions League final. So
yeah, actually we made a rum for the Champions League final, and we made only 12 bottles, and we wrote Liverpool champions for
Yes,
the fifth time.
I saw it. It's the first time I was ever jealous of a bottle of rum.
And after the affair, Michael went to a bar in Copenhagen called Skål, where the Liverpool fans is present, and sold these bottles right away. So we had to make 300 more. We just hoped that Liverpool would win because that was the only label we had.
We'll get some ready for next week then.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't want to see a Madrid rum at all.
No.
But that will be a 7th time.
That's it. Correct.
Yeah. So if anyone has any more questions, it's right now. Otherwise, we would say thanks for Ian.
Thank you. Thank
no
you.
more questions?
No.
We'd say thanks for the evening.
Excellent. Thank you, guys. Yep. We'll see you very soon. And
Thank you.
and keep drinking rum.
Yeah, no problem.
Always.
No problem.
Yeah, man. That's what I like to hear.
Always.
Brilliant. And thank you, Kim, for putting this on, for organizing this. Much
My
appreciated.
pleasure.
Much appreciated.
Talk to you soon.
Yes. Ciao.
Bye.
Ciao.